Good evening, good evening, good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and brother Ashe SJ. Will not be joining us this week. He will be back next week. Brother Tad, how you feeling? How you feeling, brother?
Blessed and highly favored.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
I'm good. I'm good though, sis. Had a nice little productive day today. I'm starting back on my running tip.
I see.
Yeah, one of our brothers out on the West Coast. He got me back into it. And starting next month, I'm doing a 100-mile challenge for the month.
Whoa.
Yeah. And you know what? It's not as hard as it sounds. 100 miles for the month of June. You figure you got like
Oh, for the month.
days. Yeah, for the whole month. Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Run.
I thought it was one go at it.
I'm not that good. The marathons be killing me. But if you could do about 3.5 to 4 miles a day, you'll definitely hit 100 miles by the end of June. Starting from the 1st to the 31st, or it's June got 30 days. Yeah,
30. You trying to add extra days in there.
Yeah, I get ambitious sometimes when it comes to this fitness stuff. But yeah, you do 3 miles a day, and even a nice brisk walk for an hour straight would be 3 miles, believe it or not. And as people build up their stamina and endurance, you could try a little longer, or you could walk a little further. And on days like Sundays or Saturdays, you could probably try to squeeze a 5-mile walk in there if running is too challenging for you. However, we definitely want to take care of ourselves. We definitely want to get fit. Though the world is opening back up, particularly, we still don't want to sleep on whatever nefarious bacteria is going on out there,
Facts.
I'm not sure whether it's real or fake. People are really losing their lives behind this thing. So I think we should err on the side of caution and always incorporate physical fitness and proper nutrition, So even when they get a handle on this pandemic, you're still primed up and prepped to have a productive and healthy rest of your life, But that's what I've been up to, sis. How about you?
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Still doing me. Finally got the bike fixed because I got a flat. So I got it fixed this week. God came over here and fixed it. Thank you to the bike rescues. That's a good business. If you're a handy person, you're a handyman, mobile bike repair, I'm telling you, if that's your thing, if you are Mr. Fixer, Mrs. Fixer, whatever, mobile bike repair, I'm telling you. Took me like a week and a half to get an appointment. But anyway, because I'm not pushing nothing, I'm not doing all that.
We were there a couple of years ago when I caught a flat in Prospect Park.
They actually been around for a while though.
Say it again.
They've been around for a little minute though.
Yeah, me and my cousin Will was riding in the park, and as soon as we got to the other side of the park, I caught a flat. We had to walk the bikes back. Yeah.
See, that's the only thing when you ride bikes, boy. And it's a good thing I was like a block and a half from the house anyway. I was on my way back from a ride. So, coming back, I caught a flat and finally they came to fix it. So now I'm back. I'm back at it again. I'll be back tomorrow morning. In the meantime, what I've been doing was doing some strength training in my thighs and in my legs. Because when you ride bikes for long periods of time, you need that stamina and that endurance, and it can be heavy on your body if you're not prepared for that. So that's what I was doing and trying to stay out of trouble.
Sis, you should sign up for the TD 40-mile bike ride. Get to tour the whole city.
I might do that. When is it?
August 22nd. August 22nd of this year. It's normally held.
I gotta check because I might be in Philadelphia that week. I gotta check. I might be able to do that.
Can't do it this year, next year, and they definitely give out medals. So you can get you a little bling while you at it. Something to prove to the grandbabies that grandma still got it. That's what I ride for. I ride and run for the bling. If there's no medals, I'm not running.
Look, I ain't doing that for nothing.
For real.
But yeah, I feel you. I feel you. And shout out to the Good Coat Bike Club. We got a Juneteenth bike ride coming up. Then again, I'm busy that day too. So I might miss that. I don't know. I just got too many things going on. Too many things going on, I tell you. And then September, I have to be here with Dr. Philae Pam Africa. We charge genocide at the United Nations. So I'll be with that. I just got too many things going on. Hands and everything. Hands and everything.
That's how we get it done, sis. The work don't stop. We got
That
to
is true.
wherever we are, you know,
That is true. That
educate
is
the
true.
consciousness of our folks. Whatever our skill set is, we have to incorporate it. Sometimes people think you have to do something grandized and something real big, put on a spectacle. Nah, just work where you are. Whatever
Yep.
your field of expertise is, do it in the name of our folks. Do it in the name of Black folks. You know,
Yep.
it's that simple. It's not that hard.
For real. And never be reluctant to try something.
Right.
Anything that I've ever wanted to do, no matter how big or small, I always put my best foot forward and went into it wholeheartedly. Any and everything. You'd be surprised the things that I've done in my short
Model,
years.
dance, rap, all of it.
All of that. All of that. Molly, dance, hip hop. Yep. I got demo. I still got my demo. And that what bugs me out too with all these tough dudes. They go in and they sign these label deals. I had a production deal with Elektra. But anyway, they sign these deals and they got so much bravado on the street. But you let these people keep your masters and everything. I walked out with everything. Everything. What you gonna do? You gonna get beat up? I went with my brother. Yeah, I'm taking all my stuff.
A lot of our folks really don't understand how the entertainment industry works. So sometimes they'll see people try it and they'll see them put their hand in the entertainment industry, and they don't realize that there's a lot of gatekeepers, and it's a small group of people that work together. And their assignment is, how do we rob the new artists? How do we take everything from the new artists and maximize on that? And some people ain't going for it,
Facts.
But
When I went in there, Tad, and I saw the shenanigans, the handwriting on the wall, I'm like, this is not gonna be for me. Because I'm gonna end up in the penitentiary. So we're gonna cut our losses right here now. I'm rolling out of here with mine, and you keep yours, and we gone. That's it.
look, artists as successful as Prince and Michael Jackson talked about the shady business in the industry. And you think it gets no bigger than Michael Jackson. And if he's telling you his partner is the devil, I mean, come on. If you ain't going to take it from Mike, who you going to take it from? Even Prince with his own story, why he changed his name to the artist formerly known as Prince. Because when you come in the game, you're young, you're naive to how this thing really works. And then by the time you find out, you realize you literally done sold your life away. Literally. That's why he changed his name to The Symbol, because they owned his name and everything. And in fact,
you got to be careful when you sign your name on them dotted lines.
That's the
Read
whole
that paperwork.
edition. Johnny Gill and Ralph Tresvant bought the name New Edition. So BBD
Wow, I didn't know that.
Perform under that name. Oh yeah.
Wow.
And again, it's people you partner with that does shady business. Same thing with Ice Cube and NWA. How he was writing all the raps, making millions of dollars, but wasn't getting compensated properly. Because he and Jerry Heller was taking all the money. I think some of us may have saw the interview that Jerry Heller did when he talked about his intention on creating gangster rap in terms of using NWA and the name. He was tired of the conscious New York hip hop, so he had to create something to counter that. And he wasn't even a music mogul or exec yet. He just was like, he's tired of the big chain New York hip hop. But he didn't say chain, he said the big D New York hip hop, So a lot of things that we see right now is intentional and deliberate. So when we see what's going on with our young folks and we ask why, we know media is mass communication, and communication is a form of hypnosis. But that's for another program.
For real. And even, when I tried my hand at modeling and acting too, I saw the shenanigans real early, and I was like, this ain't gonna work out for me. because somebody's going to end up dead or I'm going to end up in the penitentiary. This is how this is how it's going to go down. So let me just roll her. I took all my headshots, everything. I took everything. Like I don't know how y'all how do you let them keep your stuff? Like is you crazy? Give me everything of mine. What you gonna do about it? They would have got beat up. The manager and everybody would have got beat up. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I was just lucky. I don't know, but I
No,
always worked out all my stuff.
you were intelligent. Me with my background, dealing with the legal penal system, there were plenty times I had arguments with my lawyers, and I would always have to remind them who's in charge. Always have to, you work for me, I don't work for you. You do what I say do. But what it is historically, they're not really used to black folks being assertive and taking their power, you know. And at the end of the day, let me tell you, they respect it. They respected. A couple of lawyers I had, we were always arguing, going back and forth. But by the time it was all said and done, and things worked out favorably for me, they was like, "You're a good man, Mr. Cromwell." I was like, "Yeah, because this is my life. I don't leave it in nobody's hands." And I think, unfortunately, we've been conditioned to have other people do our thinking for us and do our bidding for us, just because of perceived authority. And that goes the same in the entertainment industry. Sister Farnessa said they didn't need these white folks to distribute their music. They should have continued to do it on their own. And you're 100% right. And that's one of the reasons Michael Jackson was murdered during the This Is It recording. And he told Teddy Riley and his sister Latoya, that he wanted videos rolling on him 24/7 because he knew they would try to murder him. And of course, that's how Dr. Conrad, whatever his name was arrested, because there was videotape of him not performing CPR properly or even tending to him properly when he was in duress, when Michael Jackson was in duress. That's the only way they got a conviction, because there was cameras rolling him, because Michael knew this would be the end of him because he knew who he was dealing with. But not only him, but we also seen it in hip hop with Murder Inc., J Prince, and Rap A Lot Records, and all these other hip hop entities said, we're going to come together and create our own distribution network. And what do you know? All of them got raided by the feds, all of them simultaneously, because they realized that these folks wouldn't make no money without our talent, skill, and expertise. So they said, we don't need them. Let's cut them out. And sure enough, that's when the feds came in, raided everybody. And though nobody really went to jail, there was no wrongdoing. They just tied all of their money up in legal fees and court dates. So they couldn't move forward with the distribution plan that they had. I mean, we know who we dealing with. We know how we got here. So let's not even be naive. However, shout out to the young people who are wise enough to realize now with the internet, you got the direct to consumer market now. You don't need a middleman. And now you can go to these labels with leverage. And in fact, I watched an interview with the rapper Rick Ross, and he said that he didn't take a deal unless it was seven figures on the table, because he knew how many units he was moving in the hood already, because he already had support of the streets. He said, so by the time he told any label, you want to fly me out, it can't be less than seven figures. And though I don't like his background, I do respect his business acumen. You know,
Right.
and we definitely have to really start looking at how do we move forward financially, because there's no black power without the black dollar. And
Facts.
a lot of times we need to get in the mindset, because there's a economic reset happening right now. We really got to get on board to what's really happening, because there's a whole conversation being had that we're not tuning into about
Facts.
finance moving forward. And that's the thing that's going to give us leverage, because that's the thing that gave us leverage in the beginning of the 19th century at the height of the lynchings, because we were economically astute. We were able to build our own towns and communities and put people in office that had our best interests in the halls of Congress, in Senate seats. We had
That's
more
right.
congressmen doing Reconstruction than we do right now. And they worked in our interests. Why? Because our dollar stayed in our community. We cry about it now, but we've done it before. Let's just be students of history, you know?
Facts.
But I
Facts.
got
Facts, my brother. You can't do nothing without the power. You can't do nothing without no dollars. And
that's
again, family, if you want to look back on a few of our older shows, we did a broadcast where we showed how during Reconstruction, how Black business, the Black street, and Black political structure worked in tandem to get things done for themselves and forge Black towns, wealthy Black towns throughout the United States. So if you want to go back to our previous shows, you could definitely check that out. I think we did it with Dan Bumpy Johnson, the UNIA, how they all work together. So you can check out our older broadcast. But I see we got our guest in queue. Family, she comes to us all the way across the pond for real to meet with us right here on the Brooklyn Bridge. She's from Leeds, England. She's an author of children's book. We're going to get into a little bit of that later. But for now, welcome our guest, author, Miss Deloris Herbert. How are you, Miss Deloris? How are you? Can she hear me? You see. Are you good, Deloris?
I'm good. I'm good. It keeps breaking up though.
Oh, okay. I see you. I got you. I got you. So how are you? I know it's late where you are.
And
I
welcome.
am good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm good. Nice to be here with you guys. Yeah, lovely being here.
Welcome to Brooklyn. I think we got a lag. I think it's a little
Yeah,
lag.
good. It's
All
nice.
right.
It's nice to be in Brooklyn. Yeah, I think so. Virtual. I'm in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yes, you are. This is
Um,
Ames Brooklyn Bridge. So we meet here every Thursday night, 8 to 10 p.m. But I saw you on our brother, our comrade, Brother Knowledge Born, Do the Knowledge Radio. I think it was last week or earlier this week. Last week, I think it was. And I said, wow, I would like
yeah.
to get her on the program because one,
Mhm.
she's an author. Two, she looks like us. And three, that's what we do over here. We promote people who look like us, no matter where they from. So just tell us a little bit about who Deloris Herbert
Yeah.
is. You know, where did you grow up? Your family background. Give us a little introduction as to who you are.
Yeah. My name's Deloris Herbert. I was born in the UK, a place called Leeds. My parents are from the Caribbean, a place called Nevis, St Kitts and Nevis. I'm sure people have heard where that is. A beautiful island. I always say to myself when I go over there, Mum, why did you come up to the UK? But suppose at the time there was empty promises, where a lot of Black people came over to the UK, including my auntie, my uncles, to start afresh, to see if they could, make something here. But they didn't realize what they were going to be faced with when they came over.
We can sympathize and empathize with what that was like. Our parents having to go through the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, shout out to everybody in St. Kitts. They had terrible hurricanes and stuff previously, not too long ago. Actually, one of my mother's best
Mm-hmm.
friends is from St. Kitts. She was also my mother's caregiver during her last days. So shout out to St. Kitts. Shout out to St. Kitts. But what was it like for you growing up in Leeds?
In Leeds, well, when I was little, I can't, I don't recall being faced with racism because when you're a little child, all children play with each other. It's only when a child is taught racism then that's the time you experience it. So it wasn't until my middle school I actually experienced racism. I think I was around about 12, where somebody from Scotland came
Mhm.
came to the school, and I wanted to help her. I wanted to say, "Oh, you can be friends, come and play with us." And she says to me, I'm not playing with you, you're a nigger. So I went, oh, So of course we had a fight. Because that was the first time I actually heard that name. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we come across, not all the time, but it's subtle over here, racism. You can pick it up when somebody's being racist, somebody doesn't like you because your colour is your skin, the undertone, how they kind of divert, how they use languages, but they think we don't know, but we understand exactly what they mean. But yes, yeah.
Wow. It's totally different here in the United States. You know that from a young child what it's like here in the United States. In fact, you have many children who are of kindergarten age who have absolute terror of Caucasians and police here in the United States.
Wow.
And that's something that my partner and I we're going to discuss later on in this evening in
Mm-hmm.
this show. But
Mm-hmm.
here I remember very well growing up in elementary school, um, teachers telling us we were very different from them,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you went to school like I did. I went to a specialized program. And so it was even fewer of us in those programs. So we had to deal with that on a daily basis. In my high school years, we were picked up almost every day, the black children were anyway, by law enforcement, put in handcuffs, just going to school. So it's a different thing here in the United States. But enough of that, because I want to get into this book. Um, Let me see. I think I have a photograph of the book here. We can pull it up.
Oh, I'm going to say I've got it. Yeah, wonderful. You've got it there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have it here. Now you've written this book. It's a children's book, and the title of the book is called Second Chances for Clifford.
Yeah. Second
Kind
chance for
Hand
Clifford.
Approach.
Mm-hmm.
What's the story behind this book? Because I know what the book is. I picked it up, a copy. Got one for my grandson. So
Oh,
what what's the story behind this book? What made you want to write this book?
I wanted to bring a difference, because how do I always question myself, how do you stop racing, or how do you begin to make a difference to, so children are not growing up to be racist, because children don't understand, they mimic the parents. So if parents are racist, of course they pick up that that dialogue, that that word, how they react around people who are different to them. So that is the reason why I wanted to write the book, because I realized when I'm working in a school that there was a problem. The system is broken. And my children experience that problem as well at school, by teachers and different people around them. So I wanted to, write a book where all children can learn about the kind hand approach, and it's all to do with feelings and emotions. So when they understand by what they say can hurt another child, then they begin to, change that situation. They can make it better. Yeah. So the book is Second Chance for Clifford, because there was we have many incidents in the UK. I know what you say about in America, where people are getting pulled over, children are getting pulled over by the police. We have the same problem here.
Mm-hmm.
You have the same problem here, where young boys are getting pulled over by the police every single day. So if we could like bring that understanding to children, because children are wonderful, human beings, but unfortunately, what happens is, the system the system doesn't teach us the right way. And like I say, my children experienced that problem at school. So that's the reason why I wanted to write the book. And also part of the book as well was I'm not sure if you heard about a guy called Stephen Lawrence, who was stabbed
Yes,
by
I think
a group of
I
white
think he
children.
was in the early 1990s. I believe he was killed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he was stabbed. Yeah, killed.
Mhm.
So that is the reason why, again, when I put second chance, because Stephen Lawrence didn't get a second chance, but just to show children, if they go down the wrong road, they still have a second chance to change that. So that's the reason why I put second chance for Clifford. Yeah.
Okay, Tad. Actually, that murder of Stephen Lawrence, um, that happened around the same time, I believe, Yusuf Hawkins.
Wow.
I believe. I
Now,
believe it was around the same time.
Yeah. It was
Mhm.
tragic. It was awful because I kept thinking that could have been my son, and it brought tears to my eyes. It was a sad time, a really,
Yeah.
really sad time, especially, for his family, his mum, his dad, his brother. It was a difficult time.
Right, Tad. I think they actually chased him down and stabbed him up.
Yes.
Unlike Yusuf
Yes.
Hawkins, they chased him down and beat him. But here in Leeds, I think they stabbed him quite a few times. Quite a few times they stabbed him up. Young brother,
Mm-hmm.
young brother. But
Yeah.
so in writing this book, you say you because you want to reach young people and getting them to understand that if they come across these
Yeah.
issues, how it should be handled. I see in the book you went through great detail, as far as him bringing the parents up to school and all of that. And here, there is a protocol if something like that does happen. Oftentimes, it's not followed. In Leeds, let's say you have a situation where a child is being harassed at school. What is the protocol? I don't know if it's the same
Well,
as it is here in the States.
yeah. Well, like I said, my children went through that problem. My daughter got bullied at school, and where I had to step in, and it wasn't for me marching up to the school and demanding, something needs to be done. And I was kind of shoved to one area, and I just was like a bear. No one touches my daughter, no one. So I said to the school, if you don't get these bullies out of this school, I'm getting the police, I'm getting the newspapers involved, because they had this bully in this school for years, and she was just terrorizing the children. It made no sense.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But I know it's late. I don't want to keep you up too long. Where can they find the book and where can they follow you on social media?
They find the book on Amazon, Second Chance for Clifford. And also now it's, I'm not sure if you know Richard Emmanuel. It's actually in his library in the US. Just got delivered there as well. If anybody wants to go, anyone nearby, they could go out and read it, have a look. But it's on ebook as well. I am going to do an audio, with my voice, reading the
Nice.
story. So, all children can have that understanding about the kind hand approach. Yeah.
Great, great, great. Brother Tad, any questions before we let our guests go?
No, I'm gonna buy the book and I'm gonna read it, and hopefully we can have Sister Deloris back in the future.
Definitely. I'm writing my second book, and it's around sports, because there's a lot of racism, around sports, and like I say, my son had experienced that, and many children do. But I think the more we get it out, that information, because it's time for change now. We really have to make a stand to to all this, what's going on. It's been going on for far too long, you know.
Yeah,
What we had to endeavor. It's time that we stood up and found our voice, you know.
definitely. But before we go, one last question, because as you said, this issue with systemic racism is throughout the world, to be honest. When you look at Black people around the world, we're on the bottom, no matter if we're in lead of government or not. And that is not by accident. That's called social engineering. But
Hmm.
if you know anything, well, even if you don't, just your feelings on the murder, excuse me, the recent shooting of Sasha Johnson. Now, I know she was affiliated with Black Lives Matter. We here on this program, we have no affiliation with them. We're not in align with their principles. Those of us here in the United States know a little bit more about that organization than those outside. But we are activists in our own right. Brother Tad, myself, and our other partner who isn't here this evening, Brother Ashe, in our own right. But when I saw this shooting of Sasha Johnson, it just touched my heart because one, I'm a mother. Two,
Hmm.
she's a mother, 27-year-old.
Hmm.
Um, and I saw a lot of Twitter comments, people making really nasty remarks about her in the shooting that took place after this party she went to or what have you. But my personal belief and me doing this for so long is that her agitation with the dominant structure isn't with Black Lives Matter. It is the fact that she is at the forefront of a group of other young people who formed their own Black-led independent Black party. Give me your feelings on Sasha Johnson if you can.
I don't know that much about her really, but I know when I used to see the marches and heard the name, she stood up for Black Lives Matter. She was an activist that really had a voice and helped in the sort of that Black movement. It was terrible what happened to her, but I think they've caught the people who were behind it. But like I said, I don't know the depths of how involved, what that was
Right,
all about. I don't know why maybe she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. We don't know.
right,
But I'm not 100% sure
right.
on,
I
on
just
that
want our
matter.
people to have open minds on how diabolical the system can be when you are fighting against it. Again, as I said, we don't support Black Lives Matter on this program. Not the mantra Black Lives Matter, the organization of Black Lives Matter. But to see this young girl with such a powerful voice and force over there, I understand people know she's a force to be reckoned with, no matter who the culprits were. I know that underhanded things can be done. It's been done here. We just celebrated Malcolm X's birthday last week. And we all know the underhanded nature of how things operate when you are in activism.
Yeah,
So uh,
it
to
always
her
puts.
and her family,
Hmm.
we send our best. I wish her a speedy recovery and keep pushing forward. So again, sister, thank you for coming on with us. Hope to have you on again soon to let us know about your second book. And when you're ready, you got an audience here at Thorough Black Talk. We'll bring you back on the Brooklyn Bridge.
I would love to do that. Yeah. It'll be my honor, my pleasure to do that with you guys. It's lovely meeting you both, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on your radio.
Thank you, and be
Thank you
well,
for joining
sister.
us, Deloris.
Okay, take care. Thank you very much.
You too. Be well.
Again, family, you can check out the book. It's a children's book on Amazon. It's called Second Chances with Clifford. Um, and check it out if you want to. But I thought it was interesting to have someone give us a perspective on what things are like over there in England. As I said, the young sister Sasha Johnson was shot at a party. They said it was four black men who did it. Um, and she became just 27 years of age, already at the forefront of an independent black political party. And it was at that time, once they made that announcement, things began to turn up. And shout out to the brothers from the Nation of Islam over there in Britain who have been security for her and her family. So good looking on that. But my brother Tad, you sent
Yes,
me a video earlier this week. I think you sent it Instagram. Let me pull it up.
yes.
But give our family a background of the video. I'm gonna pull it up while I pull it up.
Yeah, but before we go there, it's just so unfortunate to hear about the sister Sasha, because I think about our brother Darren Seals and the likes. People who are literally on the ground and having been murdered at the height of their rise in community activism. Because that's what each of us should be. Each of us should be an activist for our community, even if it's as local as tenant control or just part of the block association. Lend your voice, lend your knowledge base to help move our folks forward. Because I think that's very important. And I say that to segue into this video because there was a brother. We don't know who the brother is. He hasn't been. I don't think he's been identified yet. However, there were some children that were sitting on curbside being handcuffed. There was three young sisters and a little brother. And this brother was just walking down the street. He saw it and decided to get involved, which I commend him for. And he was letting the police officers know that these are children. And he was letting the cops have it nicely and intelligently. He wasn't very aggressive, though he was definitely heated. Definitely heated. And as he should be, as he stated, he's a father. So to see them children being handcuffed and nobody was hurt, there was no acts of violence committed, just because I think the children got into it with some white girls. And the sad part about it was, it seems like the lead officer, who appeared to be the lead officer, was a black man. And this man let him know, black man to black man, you should already know our children shouldn't be treated like this. And once the video come up, we'll let you as the audience take a look, and then we could talk about it. You could leave your comments in the chat. But my point is that no matter where you are in the community, you can take a stance, particularly when you see something going wrong with our young people. As the brother stated in the video, this plants the seed on why we have a distrust for law enforcement in our community. And these are the personal experiences that we have at such a young age. These children had to be between 13 and 15, between 12 and 15 years old. So by the time they're 20, of course, the seed is already planted. Because here's a police officer that looked like them and didn't empathize with them. Took the side of the other children and automatically treated our young people like criminals. Now, you couple that with mass media often showing images of us being criminal and equating criminality with blackness. This is the recipe for disaster and why we find ourselves on a hamster wheel in our community, where people think being black is synonymous with being a criminal. Because look at how we're treated from the rip. Sis, you got the video queued up?
I do. So family, like I said, I got this from Brother Tad earlier this week. And I want you to, as you watch this video, as you watch the children, please pay attention to the looks on their faces. As you listen to the brother who interacts with the police officers. And then we're going to come back and ask ourselves some questions. So let me just add this in here. Give me a second here.
Right face.
What's going on? The kids, y'all all right, babies? Is y'all in handcuffs? Why y'all in handcuffs? Because these girls is going to get talking about us and we didn't like that, so... And what y'all doing? We had a bad reaction. And so why they in handcuffs, though? Because they described us as flagging. Why you got to put them in handcuffs, though? This don't make no sense. Because they was a white girl. And we all black. So this is necessary for these kids to be in handcuffs like this? Man, check it out. You can do that. That's cool. I know. I ain't investing nothing. I got kids. These is babies right here. These is babies right here. And I think you will understand more than that. You know what I mean? Or obviously you don't. These is kids. Did somebody get hurt? Anybody get hurt? But did anybody get hurt? So why is they in handcuffs then? Why is they in handcuffs though? These is babies. Did nobody get hurt? Where's the rest of the kids? Where the kids y'all got into it with? On board. Oh, they on board. But you got these babies up in here. What's your name, officer? What's your name, officer? You got a badge number? This is crazy. I got kids. I got babies this age. This don't make no sense. They don't. These kids ain't no threats. It don't even matter what color he is. What's right is right. It don't matter if he black, he white, Mexican. These is babies. Y'all babies. Y'all don't have to have them in these cuffs like that. This don't make no sense. Look at this little baby. Look at this baby. She a baby. Do y'all mind if I record? They don't mind. Do you mind? What's your badge number? I know that. What's your badge number, sir? I'm in it now because these is kids. These is babies. These is babies. Y'all bought police. Where's the police? Where's the police? Call their parents. This don't make no sense. We can't keep having this happen. We know y'all don't care because y'all kids ain't got to go through this. Your kid ain't going to go through this. Your kid probably never go through this. And you probably got kids at the house. And would you want somebody to do your babies like this? This don't make no sense. There ain't no type of threat. There ain't no type of threat. What's the badge number? Y'all got badge numbers? 789? What's your badge number, sir? 728. What's your badge? Okay. How would you feel if these was your kids? How would you feel if these was your kids? Are they a threat right now? Are you gonna listen to understand? Or you gonna just? They just told me what happened. I know, but you asked me what happened, right? What happened? So what happened? What's this I'm saying to you? Until we figure out what's going on, this is what we have to do because we don't know. It could be a violent situation. You don't know, right? So because you don't know, you can't assume. But what's so violent? They got weapons on them. They got guns on them. You don't even know. Okay. Do anybody got any weapons on them? Anybody got a knife on them? Okay. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you checked them. Did you check them before you put them in handcuffs? So they just put you in straight handcuffs. Did you tell them what they did? You read them rights? They ain't got rights to read their babies. These is kids. This don't make no sense. And this is why they gonna fear y'all when they grow up, when they see y'all like this, and y'all supposed to be out here protecting these kids. People getting killed. Kids is getting killed out here. Babies. And this is going on. Can't even got nobody to help them. I don't know. You won't say it. They don't got nobody to help them. Y'all supposed to be out here protecting these. Y'all supposed to be protecting these kids. If this was your daughter, how would you feel? If this was your son, how would you feel? These babies out here. This is a shame. These is kids, and they all in handcuffs. I understand your frustration. You don't understand because you would never, if your kids ain't got to go through this. Let me just talk to you, all right? This is making me angry as a parent, though, man. This is crazy.
So, here you have 5 children sitting on the ground in handcuffs. You have 2 Asian police officers, an African American or black police officer. Have these children on the ground in handcuffs from a young age, already traumatizing them because they got into an argument with some white girls. There was no threats. There was no weapons. They just had words. And now they on the ground in handcuffs. Now, I didn't see them white kids on the ground in handcuffs. You don't know what these white kids said or did to them, but they're the ones on the ground in handcuffs. When I saw this, I just got so disturbed because I immediately thought about it when Tad sent it to me. I thought about the recent video that was released by the Louisiana Police Department in the murder of Ronald Green. And he was a 49-year-old man. And he is on the ground saying how he was afraid at 49. But these are children. Could you imagine the trauma that they're going to have to deal with and face, especially when they see law enforcement? I have children in my family, babies, who are afraid of law enforcement. If they see them, they scared to death. Already. Your thoughts, Brother Tag?
Well, I'll just say I'm definitely thankful for brother like Mike Graves, Noel Leader, and the brothers of 100 Blacks in law enforcement. You know, because I think it's incidents like this that makes us appreciate the brothers that do the right thing constantly, not just when they're on the clock, but when they're off the clock and even when they're retired. You know, because it's very important that as Black men, no matter, as I always say, no matter what capacity we're in, that we stand up for our people. Now, again, the Black officer seemed to be more aggressive than the two Asian officers. And I'm quite certain had he said, let me talk to these children and put them to the side, knowing our cultural history, say, let me talk to these children. This could be my niece, my nephew, my children, my little brother, my cousins. That could have been that officer when he was their age. And say, all right, what's going on? Understanding the climate of racism right now, where young children, young white children are fighting to use the N-word. They're saying, well, why can't I use this word? You know, Grant Cardone, who's a multimillionaire, maybe be a billionaire, but he wants to have the right to use the N-word. But they have no cultural sensitivity on what's offensive and what's not, because as Black people, we're just taught to just chalk it up. Just chalk it up. We're tougher than that. We're supposed to be immune to everything. We're supposed to be immune to rape. We're supposed to be immune to brutality. We're supposed to be immune to murder. We're supposed to be immune to insults. We're supposed to just take it. And look at how our children are being desensitized to being harassed by the police officers. But the sad part is this is a Black police officer that's doing this to our young children. So imagine the psychosis that he's planting in their minds right now. Because I'm always talking about we have to change the way we view things. We have to change our perception of things, shape our own paradigm, create our own new reality. But then you got people like this gatekeeper in uniform who is pushing us years back, decades back, trying to show how tough he is and how down he is for law enforcement. And that's so unfortunate because as you talked about the brother, what you said his name was Robbie Green, that was beaten and murdered.
Ronald Green.
Ronald Green.
Yes, Ronald Green.
And he just released the body cam.
Yeah, here you go, right here. Hold on, I got a picture of him right here. I think so. Yeah, here you go.
Right, because there's so many incidents, it's hard to keep up now. It's just so hard to keep up.
Uh-huh.
You know, but this is what gives us a healthy fear of law enforcement. Even to the brother that was in the army that pulled over the gas station and was roughed up by law enforcement. And what did he say? He said, I wasn't there for my life. I wanted to pull over to a well-lit place. Because we can't trust these people. Look at how they treat our children. What threat did they pose? Come on, these officers are big grown men. You're not trained to deal with children? And they're supposed to protect and serve the community? No. We know that's not true. So
that's what I said. He's standing there. He should have immediately said, hold on, let me take care of this.
That's right. And it was probably his idea to put the handcuffs on the young people. You saw how
sure
girls were. The little brother, he's courageous. I give props to the little brother. you know, but he's asserting his manhood, as he should, as he should. There's a time and a place to pick your battles and fights, you know, but this is what it is when you have testosterone. You're supposed to stand up, and you're not supposed to take nobody jump. But look at our little sisters. You know, what is this dude doing to their psyche? You know,
Exactly.
sending all the wrong messages on so many different levels. You know, that here's a black man who's not protecting them. His occupation is to protect the community, and he's not doing that as a black man. Let alone
right, because we don't know what them little white girls said or did.
And us as black people, we know how mean and nasty they can be, particularly the little girls. Sometimes we look at the little boys. Them little girls are something else. Them little white girls are something else.
Facts.
And I always say, when you look back at many of the lynchings, if you look at Tulsa, Oklahoma, if you look at Rosewood, Florida, if you look at the murder of Emmett Till, if you look, I mean, there's so many incidents.
There's a book called They Were Once Her Property. Check out the book, They Were Once Her Property. Some of the wickedest slaveholders were white women.
Yes.
Read the book, They Were Once Her Property.
I believe in medical apartheid. They talk about a woman in New Orleans, in Louisiana, I believe, who used to mutilate her enslaved servants. She used to mutilate them. All kinds of just evil, wicked stuff. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The torture.
Look at the series we just watched. Them.
Yeah, them.
Who was the troublemaker?
As usual. As usual. So we can't fall for it. And that's just what's so upsetting, you know, with many of black police officers. Many. And again, I dare not say all, because again, I will always cite 100 blacks in law enforcement who care, who always on the front line, always giving it to us real, always giving us from a legal, political, and intelligent position that can't be disputed. And not only and their actions match their words. And sometimes their deeds exceeds their words. So it's not rhetoric that they're spewing, because you see Brother Mike Gray's on the front line all the time. There you go, right there, on the front line as usual. You know,
him and Eric Josie. Stop playing.
That's right. You know, but you know, we got to separate the good from the bad. You know, so when we talk about black officers, I will always exclude our brothers, but we will talk about these villains, because there was no way in the world, you know. I'm just thinking, had that been Kayla sitting there, my baby is 13.
Yes, the one with the braids look like my niece Ryan.
You know what I'm saying? Those are our children out there.
And that's what the brother was trying to tell a cop. He said, these is our babies.
That's right. So salute to that brother.
Yes, salute to him.
Because he didn't even put the camera on him looking for kudos and props, you know, probably just a regular citizen. And that goes back to what I always say. We can do what we can where we are. You don't need this big title, leader of Black men's empowerment on your block movement, or none of that. You don't need no titles. All you need to do is care, be concerned, and courageous, because it takes a lot of courage. Because that brother know the tables could have easily been turned on him. All out aggression could have been turned on him. Because what they say, you're interrupting our investigation. What investigation? They're kids. What are you investigating? There was no weapons, no crime committed, right. Nobody was hurt. So what is there?
And he asked him that too. He said, what are you doing? He said, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. They ain't got nothing. Leave them alone. But you got these cops, a lot of these black cops who want to push their bravado, you know, got something to prove. I don't know. You got beat up when you was a kid. I have no idea. But this whole need to prove something to somebody else for a job. You need to save your life for a job. You are crazy.
But what it is, a lot of them don't have the moral capacity to know what's right and what's wrong. I've had a few dances with law enforcement that I know personally. And the conversations, the things they say, they put blue before they're black. A lot of them are immoral. They're not corrupt officers. They're just immoral because they don't steal from the job. They won't touch master stuff. They won't break master rules, but they're definitely immoral people. And it's unbelievable. The stories I could tell. But I'll save it for my book, though. But the stories I tell about people that I've met and had close relationships with in law enforcement, it's unbelievable. You know, and they hide behind the badges. People hide behind their titles. But again, the real hero of this story is that brother who was walking down the street and saw it fit to do what black men should do. Because right now, even with our brother Kwame Brown right now, he's getting a lot of traction because he's carving out a space for heterosexual black men to speak and be heard. And I think that's very important because it's a lot of sissy footing going on around right now. A lot of misrepresentation on what it is to be a black man in America. You know, any black man that stands up for his community or stands up for himself and call out the lies, you know, he's automatically attacked. And not everybody is fearful of the backlash. You know,
he's going in on everybody. He catching everybody. Left, right, and center. Not but uppercuts.
He rightfully should. I see Charlemagne gave himself the donkey of the day because he had to apologize. And rightfully so.
Yep.
See, everybody wants to do what's politically correct and not what is just actually correct. People don't want to hurt the majority's feelings. In fact, when I finished running today, right, I was at the Brooklyn Library at Grand Army Plaza. And you know what I saw? The American flag, under that, the New York State flag, and you know what flag was under that? The rainbow flag. I'm like, they can't be serious. It can't be serious. Is someone's sexual preference that important that it has to be a line? Sis, Grand Army Plaza. Go check it out for yourself. I saw it this morning when I was running around Prospect Park. It's unbelievable.
No thanks.
It's unbelievable.
No thanks.
Well, all to appease people's political agenda. But how does that serve our community? And in fact, our brother Kwame Brown spoke on that. And
yes, he did.
I had to respect him.
For those who don't know, who might not know what's going on, who's Kwame Brown? Brother Tad, what's been happening?
Kwame Brown is an NBA player or a former NBA player. You know, I'm not into sports myself. However, he's been setting the internet on fire by going at these people in the NBA, Stephen A. Smith and other NBA players that are selling themselves to the league. And he talks about that. You know, he even mentions himself. He said, you know, I get paid to be an entertainer. He said, I get millions of dollars. He said, sports is nothing but modern entertainment. And he talked about why isn't money being pumped into the schools to teach our children coding, teach them how to survive in the 21st century. He said, as opposed to the LGBT agenda, how does that help our community? He said it doesn't. You know, and I respect that man for that, for speaking up. You know, because it is unfortunate that all of this stuff is being forced down our children's throats. Our girls are being masculinized, if that's a word. And
it is now.
Word, right? And our sons are being masculinized. And these are conversations that if you talk about what you want for your children, if you talk about that, you're the bad guy. If you talk about, well, I'm teaching my children family values, you're vilified. Because you're not supposed to teach your children your family values. You're supposed to teach them what society wants them to know. And you want them to be who society wants them to be. And our children are now being confused because they're getting conflicting messages on what a gender is. You know what they said is about 83 gender expressions or something like that?
I don't even know. I'm confused.
Right. And so
I'm confused. I don't know nothing.
Expressions. You know? We just lost Sister Keisha real quick. But the point of it all is that us as adults and people who care about our community, it's on us to take a stance, to step up and let our position be known about how we feel about a lot of things. If we don't agree, we just don't agree. We don't have to go along to get along just so that we don't ruffle other people's feathers. Because here it is, we're worried about other people's feelings and nobody's really worried about ours. And I think that's disingenuous to us as a community, you know. But y'all chime in. I really want to know what a lot of y'all think, you know. And our brother Craig, aka Ray, said that the LGBT had a big rally the other day at Grand Army Plaza. Maybe that's why they decided to fly the flag. I don't know. But I can't hold allegiance to that flag, you know. And I'm not telling nobody go out here and hate nobody. I'm not saying go fight nobody that's gay or anything like that. We all have gay people in our family, and our family know our position on that, you know. However, you can't force it down my throat, just like I don't force my heterosexuality down anyone else's throat. There's just an order on how things are done. It's an order on how things are done, and these are not my laws. These are laws of nature. Man-made laws can be broken, repealed. However, laws of nature, they have to stand as they are because this is what produces and brings forth life. And we live what's called a lifestyle, not a death style. Sister Keisha, anything you want to add on to it?
No, you hit the nail on the head, my brother. But again, you know, watching that video, excuse me, of those children, I thought about this recent video that was released late last week of a murder of Ronald Green that took place 2 years ago in Louisiana. The police initially reported that he sustained injuries which caused his death from a collision, a car crash collision. In fact, that's the narrative that they kept pumping. But once the family were able to see him, they knew right away that that was not the case. Then they saw the wreckage of the car. It was just a rear hit that could not have caused the damage that it had done to this man's body.
As well as
They
the
really,
autopsy saying
yeah.
that they had 2 prongs from tasers in his
Mm-hmm.
back. Which, if a person died in a collision, why would you even tase them? Which makes no sense. And the doctor had reported it. You know, as well as one of the officers on a recording, an audio recording, talking about how bad they beat the brother,
Mm-hmm.
choked him and beat him.
Right.
Listen,
They
language.
talked about
They,
how they I
effing,
think he said he beat the hell out of him or something like that.
they beat the effing sugar out of him, is what he
Mm-hmm.
said. You know, pretty much bragging about it.
Right.
You know, and I believe they initially released 2 minutes of the camera footage,
Right.
body cam footage, when it was actually over 40 something minutes.
Right. Because the one I have is about 30 minutes long. The video that I have is about 30 minutes long. Of course, in that video that I have, they omitted the audio part where he said that he beat the stuffing out of this dude.
Right.
And you can see in the video where he's already deceased and they're propping his body up as if he's still alive. And that was also heart-wrenching. But again, this is the brother, Ronald Green, 49 years of age, who was murdered by Louisiana Police Department. Now, this is what he looked like before he was in police custody, right? And excuse me, family, but this is graphic. This is what he looks like after police custody. Now, there were 2 prongs shot in his back. So the first thing the family noticed, well, if he died from a collision, from a car crash, why did he have these 2 taser prongs in his back? And he had those taser prongs in his back because they put it there. They beat this dude mercilessly, and then, you know, he drove his car into a well-lit area because he was screaming, saying that he was in fear of his life. And anybody with a brain cell, knowing the temperature of law enforcement in this country, when you are accosted by the police, you should be in fear. They just might kill you right where you stand. You ain't got to act scared. But yeah, every black person, even black children, as we showed earlier, in fear for their lives, sitting on the ground in handcuffs or plastic handcuffs or whatever they want to call them, all because of an argument. Now, we don't know what took place to make them want to chase this man down. and then beat him even though he had fully surrendered. I saw that in the video. He fully complied. And then after they cuffed him, you saw two of the officers with their knees in his back. He's already screaming in pain and telling the police officers, look, whatever I did, I'm sorry. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. But they still took him out of here. And then you have these officers who gloat about doing so. Now, I believe one of the arresting officers, just before this video came out, died of a car accident, or at least that's what they said.
Yes.
Reminds me of Harry Chris when he was going to be testifying in the trial, the rape trial, in which Tawana Brawley accused him and others of raping her. He magically showed up dead, and they ruled that a suicide. But this case got a lot of holes in it. It sounds really bad to me. It smells bad. It is bad. And what, as Brother Taz said, you have Black men and women who are members of law enforcement, and you see these kind of things take place. But you reluctant to say anything. You're reluctant to do anything. You don't want to get harassed yourselves because, I know two sisters who spoke out about injustices within the NYPD, and they were harassed on a daily basis. One found nooses in her locker. They were sent out on these death calls by herself and all kind of shenanigans. So I do know that takes place. But as Brother Tat said, what is your morality level? What is the morality level? Because this just happened off the heels or around the same time that Sandra Bland was murdered. So already the country was at a heightened level. That just tells us that these waste soldiers, they don't care about who filming them, who recording them, what kind of trouble they get into, if they go into prison, if they going to be prosecuted. They don't care. The other two officers, they still on the job. Nothing happened to them. They still working. At least as of today, they were still working. So I'm just saying, you got all of these unions, all these Black officers, you pay into these unions. You willfully play into it. Listen, let me tell you, I'm not a city worker. Kudos to all of y'all who could do it, because I don't understand how you do it, because I couldn't. I can't have that much damn restriction on my life. But anyway, your union dues aren't mandatory automatically. So for what I mean is that, let's say I belong to a union. I work for the police department. I'm a part of a union. The members, the body of officers, we can now say, you know what? We don't want our union's dues to come out automatically. We want the union reps to come to us individually to collect money. You know how that would disrupt the union? Now, how you would get the union to back you? They want that bread. They will back you. The problem is you don't have people in law enforcement anyway who even think of such a thing. Start with your union dues. If you disrupt that alone, you can have some backing. But they don't want to do that. That's too difficult. And I remember that when here in New York City, let me digress for a minute, when they had the transit workers strike, transit unions strike, when Toussaint was the head of the union. And people were giving him a lot of pushback, Brother Tag, because he said, you know what? Let's not have our union dues taken out automatically. If the union won't back us, we'll break the union. And I'm the delegate, and I'm telling you, we could break the union. But it seems that I don't know. It's like I don't know. I'm government workers. Y'all saw. It's only when it comes to a new contract to get some bread. That's the only time you see government workers want to shut down something. You can do that when you see injustices, just like the sister Sharon, who worked in agriculture, and she saw that a lot of the white farmers were getting things that Black farmers couldn't get. She opened her mouth She opened her mouth and it was recorded. Y'all sit at these, go to these jobs, these law enforcement agencies, and you see all kind of shit. You see these officers beat their wives, cheat on their wives and husbands, beat their children, do sexually assault their children, their significant others, and the like, and won't say a damn thing.
And the coworkers.
And won't say a damn thing. To me, you are complicit. You're complicit in it. I remember I used to go to the union parties back in the day. Because you know a lot of my family worked for the government. So I used to go to the union parties. DC 37 was the pop off.
I heard that was the best.
That was the pop off. That was the pop off. But I saw so much shenanigans going on. And I'm like, and these people, that's why I don't give government workers no damn breaks. No damn breaks.
I can't get a break.
Except you. Except you. And my family members. But for real, stand by and see the nonsense go on and won't say nothing. But then you have a case before you and you try to read the person who coming to you for services. Like, it makes no sense to me. But when I saw this black officer be the aggressor to black children, I'm calling out black law enforcement. That's on your watch, Louisiana. All you black cops in Louisiana, in the area where these kids was
that was LA, Los Angeles.
LA. All the black police officers in Los Angeles, California. This is on you. What happened to them babies is on you, and you should be ashamed of your damn selves. And people will have more respect for you if you stood up for the community of which you claim to protect and serve. So that's just me. And you notice the two Asian officers who were right there, the same group that's talking about anti-Asian hate, but you got 5 black babies on the ground terrorizing them. But you're talking about anti-Asian hate. What the hell is that? I'm just saying, family.
What opened my eyes about the challenges that black law enforcement deal with is a book by Dr. Tyrone Powers called Eyes to My Soul, The Rise of a Black FBI Agent. And it was so profound because the brother was conscious and he knew so much about our story, but he was raised by his hood brothers and his sister. They grew up in the hood of Baltimore. Him and his younger brother, went to school, did the right thing, while his older brothers were out in the streets. And the paradigm of what he had to be raised with, he's raised by criminals to go down the right path. He went to college, graduated. His brother went to college. His younger brother, I believe his brother's name was Warren, graduated, went to college. Meanwhile, I think the older brother's name was Frank, Nate, and Quincy, and they had a sister named Cookie. And then it was Dr. Tyrone Powers was the next to youngest, and his brother Warren were the youngest. They were the two that went to college and became something of themselves. And if anybody haven't read that book, please do, because he talked about the racism in law enforcement. And he said his first assignment as a Maryland State Trooper was to guard the Ku Klux Klan. Now, mind you, this brother already had knowledge of self, and he was aware of what went on to blacks in America, and that's how he started the book. And it just progressed there because he had an older mentor in a state trooper, or Jegna, which us African-centered people call him. But he had the older brother teach him the ropes. And he's like, brother, don't stop here. Take it further, because the older brother could remember when blacks weren't even allowed on law enforcement. So he was telling Tyrone, this is an opportunity for you to make a difference in your community, as to which he became an FBI agent. And once he became an FBI agent, his white counterparts used to leave him for dead, send him on crash test missions. Times sent him in an undercover drug bust. And when he gave them the word to come kick the door in, they didn't. And he said it was only because of his street smarts that he was able to talk his way out of situations when his cover was blown or potentially blown, because he knew the intricate lingo of the streets. And if you're not from the streets, you really don't know the intricacies in the lingo. And he, he knew how to finagle his way out of it. And I say that thinking of an experience I had. I remember one time when we were doing music and we were a hip hop group, we had the hip hop police following us all around the club. And I knew the guy was a cop. And I had to, kindly pull him to the side and be like, yo, my man, you making us very uncomfortable. We feel like you're being aggressive because no matter where we went, he acted like he was a drunk patron who was a fan of our music. So he kept trying to tag along, and he followed us in VIP. And once he got through to VIP, I just pulled him to the side and let him know I take him following us as an act of aggression. And now I'm taking it personal. And that's when his partner came out the blue. Hey, here you go, man. Pardon him. He's drunk, and pulled him away because he knew his cover was blown and he was about to get these put on him. But I already knew he was the police, so I knew how to talk to him, letting him know that I felt he was a threat to us and our safety because he kept trying to get in our inner circle that was tight. You know what I mean? So again, Tyrone Powers, when he found himself in a situation like that, he knew how to finagle his way out of the situation. But he talked about how the black Fed agents tried to leave him for dead. But they eventually, sat and let his older brother die, who was one of the biggest, one of the most well-known, I won't say biggest, but he was a well-known dealer in the streets to law enforcement who was trying to turn his life around. But I tell you, sis, it's an excellent read because so much of what he
I have.
He equate our story here in America with what he had to go through, and he got a nice little suggested book reading for anybody who read his book, and the Bible, The Art of War, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, the Autobiography of Malcolm X, and a few other books were recommended reads that he suggested to people who read his book. And what was funny and ironic at the time, I think I was probably like 22 or 23 when I read that book, and I had read his suggested list. So I really related to what he went through. And that's the first time I just didn't see a black officer as an officer, but a black person who happens to be an officer. And then, of course, with my personal life experience as time went on, and shout out to our sister Sergeant Dorsey from CNN, who wrote the book Black and Blue. She was a LAPD sergeant as well, and her book talks about the corruption in the LAPD and her personal experience. She's often a CNN correspondent right now. So again, I salute the black officers that stand up and stand tall for our people. But the rest of y'all who want to do the system's bidding, y'all can kick rocks with no socks. But since I'm going to pass the mic to
I know that's right. I know that's right. Messing with my Wi-Fi over here, but I got it back working. I keep sticking and freezing. I got it back working. And I have a lot of people in my family in law enforcement, from federal level to the state level to corrections to the city level, and I understand. But they know suckers. They always was getting written up for something. All of them, because they telling. They telling because we cut from my grandmother's cloth. We don't play that stuff over here. I don't care where you at. What you doing? No job can make you lose your character, your self-worth. And to see that black man so aggressive to these children, and it took another black man to step to him and let him know where he was out of pocket in front of his two Asian fellow officers. To let them know that this can't be done. This can't be done. So for all of you who work in law enforcement out there, or know somebody who work in law enforcement out there, and they keep your mouth closed, then you could tell them that Sister Keisha said they're a sucker. And if they don't like it, too damn bad. Shout out to Carol Horn. Yes, a sister upstate in Buffalo who stood up. She saw a white police officer out of pocket. She had to step in and fight him. Then lose her job. And then have to fight to get her pay, her back pay, and everything that she rightfully deserves. But it took her, she's like, wait a minute, this ain't right here. And it needs to be more black officers. More. I heard Eric Adams' campaign the other day on TV. He talked about, how he joined the police department, the same cliche. He joins the police department so he can change it from within. Well, you are absolute failure because you was in the police department for 27 years. You's a damn failure. If the police department is still, if NYPD is still the same, or if not worse than where you left it, your motive, your intentions was a damn failure. And as mayor, you will be a failure to do such. How in the hell? And this is, I hear this a lot, Brother Tad, for black people who join law enforcement. Oh, I joined because I want to change the system from within. Again, and I'm gonna say this again, and I know y'all heard me on this show say this 100 times. White people invest trillions of dollars yearly into this system so that it can work as it does. Now, as Brother Taz said, when you get your guap up and you get your ammo up, then maybe you could talk about something else. Till then, you're not changing nothing. I don't care if you're a correction officer, state officer, federal officer, regular old police department, it don't matter. You cannot change a system from within. That's right, Sister Tam. He's a damn failure. And any other black officer who come with that rhetoric, oh, I joined it so I can change it from within. You a damn failure too. You're a failure. So why would I want to then trust your word and logic to lead me to vote for you for mayor? That is not logical to me. But, some people, they like familiar faces and familiar rhetoric and not politically astute, and they will go into a voting booth and we're going to catch more hell. Let me tell you something. I am not pro-Democrat, pro-Republican, but black people catch the most hell in this country under Democratic leadership. Under Democratic leadership, since Biden has taken office, you have more attacks on black people by law enforcement than you had with Trump in his first 100 days. And it's always that way. Wasn't it the Democrats that enslaved us in the first place?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And I think people need to do a refresher history of both political parties. And when was the big switch, Sister Keisha?
The Civil Rights Movement.
Yeah, that's what it was, the Civil Rights Movement. Because Democrats made so many promises that they consistently failed to keep. And it's almost like we act as if we don't have any other choice. And that's so unfortunate.
Sister Pat says, not true. They joined to get a steady pay and benefits. You're damn right. That's what it is. Don't come with the rhetoric, Mr. Adams, about, I got harassed by the police when I was 15. Nick, bro, I was put in handcuffs every day in my high school years. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Sit your funny looking self down somewhere. Listen. Just put me in a room with Eric Adams and lock the door. That's all. Just put me in a room, lock the door. That's it. I want sound barriers and everything because I don't want nothing to come out. Put me in a room with him and we'll straighten this out 1, 2, 3. Because then I'm going to start telling some business that I know about you and embarrass you. That'll make you step off the campaign trail. You don't really want me to tell your dirt now, do you, Mr. Adams? And I can prove it. I don't have to just say it. I can prove it. But, I want our people to just be alert and stay focused and watch what's happening around you. You see these police officers that are pulling people over. You don't know what happened. I don't want you to get yourself hurt or get yourself locked up. But pay attention, especially when children are involved. We did this exact same thing, Brother Tad. In 2013, we was getting signatures for the police department, at the Broadway Junction station. There was these 15-year-olds who were up here in New York visiting family, and they were with a cousin going shopping. And police officers in the subway station stopped them asked them for ID. It was a little bit before 3 o'clock. So children are coming home from school anyway at that time. And these children were shook. They were scared to death. And the brother, young brother, he was so nervous. He just said, I'm here. Can I call my uncle? My uncle, we just come up from, I think it was North Carolina or South Carolina. And we're not from here. So me being the person that I am overheard them and stepped in and let the officers know what time it is. And until their legal guardian get here, I'm their damn legal guardian. I'm Aunt Keisha. Yep, sure enough is. Yep. Don't y'all say a word. Don't say a word. You ain't got to answer none of their questions. None. Nothing. And we caused such a big stink that other people in the subway station began to come around and check around what's going on. But all it took was somebody to say, oh, this is out of pocket. Just like that brother did. It's out of pocket. And we can't keep turning a blind eye to things that we see and then wonder why our children disrespect us. You can't do that. Because if their elders, aren't going to protect them when clearly a wrong is being done, then what kind of message are we sending them? And then you wonder why they get caught up with groups like Black Lives Matter and the like. This is why. Because to them, they see that rhetoric and they see, well, somebody at least saying something. Our folks over here ain't saying nothing. They see them harass us on a daily and they won't say nothing. Nothing.
And see, that's what activism is, us stepping in when we see the need for it to be. And if anybody walks away with anything from this show tonight, we want you to know that you can do what you can right where you are. You don't have to be part of an organization, though that always helps to join an organization, to have a community goal that you want to see achieved, But if you're not part of an organization, you can still step up in your community. And in fact, if you're not part of one, create one. Organize something. Organize a book club. Organize a block watch. Organize a block cleanup group. To where you just decide, you know what? Every Saturday, we're going to come out and sweep up in front of our own houses on our block. Something simple. You know what I mean? It don't have to be nothing grand. You can't change the world overnight, And like I always say, we're not going to master the big goals if we don't manage the little ones. And the little things is just being courteous to your neighbor, cleaning up where you live, speaking to your neighbor. Because one of the things I have a problem with, sister, and I'm going to be honest with you, is that we don't speak to each other. Anytime I speak to our folks, and particularly sisters, it's almost like they think a brother trying to rap. It's like, brothers, we'll say what's up. And be like, hey, what's up, brother? All right, brother. We'll fist bump and everything. Don't know each other from a can of paint. And we have to stop being like that. Really
Facts.
Speaking to one another, only have each other. Please understand that. One day, Sister Keisha, it was snowing, and I saw a sister shoveling her car, and I asked her, did she need help? And she looked at me, no. I was like, excuse me. I asked for a number or something. But I think about my daughters, and I think about my mother, and when I see Black women, that's how I see them as part of my family. And I think that, her car was snowed in. I'm strong. I'm in shape. It would have took me a 1, 2, 3, and I saw her struggling, and if that was my daughter or sister, I would want somebody to help. Not for no financial compensation, not for exchange of a phone number, just because that's how we got to do in the community. We have to look out for one another. And our children see these attitudes, and our children see that nobody's stepping up, doing what we're supposed to be doing. And again, kudos to that brother on the video who stepped in like a man is supposed to and make sure that the children are okay, regardless to who the aggressor is. Whether it's us, the police, or other gang members, we have to protect our children. Because if we don't, our children think they're out here by themselves, and then they join gangs and get involved with all kind of foolishness. In fact, last week, me and my cousin was rolling around. We were on Washington and Park Place, and there was a shooting over there. Young boys. And we're talking to the elders over there because my cousin knew the people on the block. And again, shout out to the elders over there because they told the police, yo, they right over there. Because I'm like, these young boys, like there's elders and children, they were having a cookout. And these young boys decide they're going to meet on that block where grown-ups and children are and decide to start shooting at each other. Like I said, I'm not a proponent for our folks going to jail, but if you're gonna put the community in harm's way, we need you out.
Ah,
If the elders can't talk to you, we need you out of here because we don't have no time for talking no more. In fact, I believe it was earlier this week or last week in Brownsville, there was a young sister who was shot in the head at a candlelight vigil for a friend who was just murdered. And I'm
yes.
like, what is our young people doing?
Yep.
Because it's not even the old school fist fights where it's 5 of us and 5 of them and we just gonna meet up and fight. Now these dudes is shooting innocent people.
Recklessly.
Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's even preventing this mentality before it gets there. And who knows, this brother in LA probably stopped that aggressive mentality just by showing the young people somebody is here who do it. Because before these kids get to this, there's a breaking point to where they think nobody cares about them. Nobody wants to hear them. You know, and that's why it's so important that we reach out to our young people. Prevention is better than the cure because I am tired of the violence. In fact, one of my brothers, my brother BT, he put a video up on Facebook the other day. There was a brother choking out his girlfriend in the train station. And MTA, the transit worker, stopped him, you know, and he went for his bag like he about to shoot all of them. So, of course, they bum rushed him and held him till the police came. They said the police came 25 minutes later, but the girlfriend is saying, she looked to be Spanish. She was telling the police, like, no, I was hitting him. That's my boyfriend. I was hitting him.
That's that low self-esteem stuff.
Right. But check it out. The police went in the bag and homie had a loaded 380. And of course, he crying. He don't want to go to jail. He crying.
You going down, boy.
But prior to the MTA dudes jumping on him, he was throwing up his gang signs talking about he about to murder all of them and went and grabbed this bag. And of course, they bum rushed him. Took the bag, and the bag did have a gun. And these dudes are not built like that. They're not really killers. They just misunderstood and don't know what to do with those emotions. And it's too rampant now. It's too close to home. You know, we see
it's too much craziness going on out here. Again, like you said, another one, another toddler shot again last week. This is crazy. Y'all out here reckless. It's ridiculous.
And it's our
us against everybody else. You ain't got time for all that other stuff. You ain't got time for all that other stuff. And you know, if you got some emotional issues, you shouldn't be in no relationships at all. Get yourselves together.
And you know what, Sister Keisha? I want to give a shout out to the sister. I wish I knew her name over on Park Place in Washington because she got on the phone after the shooting and she called somebody like, you need to come out here and get your son. He out here with these fools out here shooting and things. And I was like, that's right. She called the parent, like, come get your son. He out here with these. But that's what we need to do. We need to let our children know that this is not okay, that this behavior is not cool. We don't co-sign it. We have to stop being afraid of our children. We have to stop being afraid, you know, because when we show our children that we're afraid, we give them a false sense of power.
Yep.
They hide behind weapons. They hide behind the numbers in the gangs. I remember when I was in a gang, I'll be honest with you, out of 30 of us, only 5 of us was really fighters. Maybe 10 of us was fighters. The rest was just there to make it look good. You put the tough guys in the front, and the rest of them was just there for the intimidation factor. You know what I'm saying? But most of these dudes is cowards. And I'll be honest with you.
That's why they out here buck wild.
Yeah.
Buck wild. It's not, let me tell you something. Yes, I do. When it's nothing better than punching somebody in the face to piss you off. Once you get that hook off and that jaw go crack, that is like heaven. So I would rather beat the hell out of you than to pull out on you. At least, listen, you're going to have your eyes is going to be black and your head going to be lumped up. But your mama get to see you tomorrow.
I'm laughing because I couldn't agree with you more. And you know what's funny though? Because it's simple as that. Win, lose, or draw, you get to go home. You get to go home. And a lot of people don't understand that once you're behind that trigger, man, It's two lives that get destroyed. The one that got shot and the shooter. Because you're going to jail. Let's be clear, you're going to jail. And the sad part is that the mothers are left with this agony and grief. Because dudes think they keeping it real for the team, but when you go to jail, none of them dudes gonna be there.
Sure
Unless
enough,
they
won't.
put up a scent with you there or catch up with you later down the line for something else stupid that they might have done. That's the way they there with you. Other than that, your homies, they not writing. You be lucky to get a call. You know what I'm saying? Like, you call them and they answer the phone. It's not what you think. They always saying, yo, free such and such, but how about saying, nah, son, chill, you gonna go to jail? How about that part?
Facts.
You know,
Facts.
and it's
It ain't that serious.
because it's on us, the smart people, the intelligent people, the people who supposed to care about the community. We're supposed to take that step forward and say, nah, shorty, chill. You wildin'. You know, even invite them in your house sometimes just to have a conversation with them. You'd be surprised the power that black women have just talking to young people. I'll never forget one time I was in a project and this elder lady, she came to me one day and she said, "You so handsome. Why don't you ever smile?" And that made me smile. And she said, "There it goes. That's what I'm talking about. You look so much better." And it prompted me to smile more. You know, and I don't know what it was, but it was, she dusted off something in me because I used to walk around with the ice grill. You know, I can show you a mug shot when I was 18 years old. Stone face, just looking mean mugging. You know, face fighting everybody. You know, because back then, you know, in the late 80s, early 90s, if you smiling, you must be a sucker. You must be soft. You know, but ain't nothing wrong with smiling. Smiling feels good. It feels good to be happy. But unfortunately, our children don't have enough things to make them happy. And you'd be surprised what an encouraging word could do for a young person. To let them know that they're seen, that they're appreciated. And this is what we have to do. So when we talk about community activism, you don't have to be politically affiliated. You don't have to be, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about these are simple things that you could do in your community that really makes a big difference. Just by talking to one young person, helping them along the way, encouraging them. We don't encourage our young people enough. So unfortunately, when you got law enforcement harassing young people and then the community not supporting young people, this is how they turn the gangs. Because that's the only support they're gonna get. Because, oh, your parents don't care about you, mine don't care about me neither. But don't worry, I got your back. What problems you have? Oh, them kids in your class teasing you? Let's go over there. Let's go to their block. Let's go to the park. Like Sister Keisha said, it feels good to punch somebody in the face. These young people can attest to it. And if you got somebody who's going to back you up, then here you go. Here you are. You got the makings of a gang and the gang mentality. And we have to change that. It's so important because if we don't, they'll start this summer. Next summer, they got a gun and they want to prove how down they are for the team. Any and everybody. The young sister that got murdered had 2 children and a living mother. And in fact, not only did she lose her friend, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe the young sister's brother was murdered a couple of years prior. We have to stop. We really do. We really, really. I can't explain.
Because all we got is each other. Trust me when I tell you. Ain't nobody out here throwing no haymakers for us. Nobody. I don't forget the rhetoric. Ain't nobody out here championing for us. And you got to clean up where you at. The reason why you had gangsters like a Frank Lucas or a Bumpy Johnson or a Madam Stephanie Sinclair were beloved in their communities because they had a standard of living, even though they were in the streets. You couldn't curse or smoke around Bumpy Johnson. He didn't like loud talking. You one of them cats that's always talking loud and saying nothing. You might have got his knife across your neck because he didn't like that kind of stuff. And you wasn't going to curse out no women. You wasn't going to beat up no women. We talked about him on our show before. His legacy. So that's what you gotta. That's what we gotta come back to. You know what it is that you're doing. The goal is to always come back home safely.
That's it.
Whether you working a 9 to 5, got your own business, hustling in the street. The goal is to always come back home safely. And in order to do that, you have to be smart and you have to be strategic. The streets and life is a chess game. You have to know how to move your pieces accordingly. And then how you move those pieces can determine how difficult your life will be or how easy your life would be. And that's something that I always tell my children. Life is a chess game. You can play this with difficult pieces on the chessboard if you want to, but it's going to take you forever to finish this game, and you're going to have all kind of challenges. Now, if you understand your position on this chessboard and how to maneuver through all of these pieces that are in front of you, life could be easy. Life could be easy. But unfortunately, Brother Tad, a lot of our young people and older ones, don't just throw young people under the bus, because a lot of these old heads, watch these old hoes out here too. And I'm gonna say that, yes, I'm gonna say it again. Watch these old hoes out here.
That's why I love
Yes,
my sister.
I said it because I just read in the paper where this woman, 59 years old, cut another woman's neck from her chest to her neck, them messing with the same man. Watch these old hoes out here, y'all. I'm telling you, stop the shenanigans. You are not 15. You cannot relive that. It's done. It's finished. You cannot compete with a 15-year-old. And why would you want to? Why would you want to? It behooves me. And a lot of them, I see you outside agitating things that you shouldn't be agitating. Mind your business. If you're not going to do nothing good, mind your damn business. But don't come out here and get involved in children's fights. I see this. It's all, you see the videos on social media too as well. Stay out of this stuff. When I was working with the Freedom Retreat for Boys and Girls, you ask any of those girls who came through the program, they will tell you Sister Keisha was the toughest counselor we ever had. But I was the most loving. And if Miss Maddox was still alive today, she could attest that every time I left, them girls was in tears because they didn't want me to leave. And when the bus came back, I was the first one they ran to. Yeah, I might be hard, I'm firm, but they know I love them to death. And I'm not going to let nothing happen to them at all. At all. We had one girl, she was just a problem. She was the problem child. I said, I got it. We going to the backwood. We going in the woods. We'll be back later. We came back. She was a nice little girl. What happened in those woods is our business. But she was a nice little girl. When she came back, all the other girls was like, Miss Keisha, what happened? What you do to her? She's just so much nicer. Don't worry about that. It's between me and her. We went out in them woods and we handled it. And I will take those secrets to the grave. But I'm telling you, she was a nice person when she came back. Her mother was shocked. When her mother came up for the visit, she said, is this my child? Yeah, because you put out with this foolishness. I'm not. Your girls grow up faster than boys. And girls, you can't have too many queens rule a house. That's why most times girls leave home real early. If you look throughout your life, your friends, your family, the girls leave home early. You know why? Because two queens can't rule the roost, right? So there are different ways of how we have to deal with each other. You know, how I deal with my son, I can't deal with a female the same way. It's just totally different. You understand what I'm saying? But you have to get your hands dirty because you can't be out here just killing people for no damn reason. You can't be out here like it's the OK Corral, shooting up innocent babies and old people for no damn reason because you got some kind of bravado. And I'm talking to the girls' school because they worse than the boys out here in these streets. I'm trying to tell y'all now. They will curse you out and cut you left, right, and center. These girls out here. So I'm telling you, family, if you dealing with some issues, with some young people in your life, you got to get them some help. Especially when they are violent, because they're going to project that onto someone else out in these streets. And now you done lost your child because they behind bars for the rest of their life.
Or 6 feet deep because they done tried the wrong person.
Facts. There's a lot of crazies out here.
You know, I'm keeping my eye on a story that just unfolded. I believe it was this week or last week. But there was some young bloods in California that spray painted over Nipsey Hussle's mural. wrote their name. And you know, in California, that's disrespect when you cross somebody's name out. That means you mark them for death. But to for Bloods to write over his mural, knowing that he was a Crip, you know, that's acts of gang violence. And in fact, one of the OGs from Nipsey Hussle's set named Cowboy, he made an appeal to the Bloods in California, you know, to check their little homies. He said, you know, because we do have a truce, because, you know, again, you know, I was just in California back in March, you know, with Crips and Bloods. And the ones in our age group, Sister Keisha, are still honoring the truce from the Rodney King incident. From back in 1992, they still have the truce going. You know, it's amazing. You know, Crips and Bloods, they're still rocking. I was amongst all of them, you know, and it was dope. There was a lot of love out there, to tell you the truth. And the Bloods in the Pink Houses is crazy. The Bloods in the Pink Houses are really sanctioned by real Bloods in California. It's just amazing. I met a OG Blood out there. Said he was in Brooklyn. Said he was in the Pink Houses. I was like, me and Dog looked at each other. Me and Dog, shout out to Doggy Diamonds. We looked at each other and said, the Pink Houses? You was in the hood. And he said, yeah, we have a set out there, you know. And I was like, okay, so the Bloods in the Pink Houses are a real set because they're sanctioned by Compton Crips. But I say all that to give a background to what's going on with this whole Nipsey Hussle thing, because Nipsey Hussle passed away about 2-3 years ago. But these young guys are writing on the wall, you know, being disrespectful to Nipsey, violating the truce that has been in place since 1992 between the Crips and Bloods. And many people who know Nipsey Hussle know that he wasn't even on that type of time. In fact, he was trying to unify the gang even further and hit them with some political and economic information, you know, just so it can be a stronger community. And these young boys made a video in response saying F the OGs and F this and F that. And I don't think people understand. I'm quite sure the people in California that watch us understand that Cali is a different animal. Yeah, we got gangs in New York, but California, they operate by different codes, by different rules, and some conversations are just off the table because it rehash old wounds and old wounds because people literally died. People are really hanging out with dudes that may have killed their brothers and their cousins, but just for the sake of neighborhood peace, they put it behind them. But you know, they still walk with that pain. So certain things are taboo. And this is what I was learning when I was out there. You know, even the hats, the New York hats mean something. The NY hats you a certain gang, Raider hats you another gang, you know. But I was talking with them when I was there in March, and they were letting me know that we were good because we're of an older generation. They said, but it's the young boys who are different. And as you see this week, you know, they disrespected Nipsey Hussle mural. And in fact, it's the mural that I took a picture of Nipsey Hussle. If you can remember this, when I was in California, that is literally where Nipsey Hussle's store is, because he bought the little lot. He bought the whole lot, you know, the strip mall where his store was, you know, because the whole history of it and why he bought it. But the wall is on Fat Burger, which Nipsey Hussle had a partnership with Fat Burger, which is right next door to the alley that leads to the strip mall where his murderer had walked through and shot him. You know, all of that is the same block. It's literally the same block. You have his mural, then the alley. The mural is on the side of Fat Burger's drive-through. Then you have the alley where the guy walked through, which where the strip mall is, where Nipsey Hussle was standing when he got murdered. You know, so for these guys to be that brazen, it's on the corner of Crenshaw and Slauson. You know, so it's just unfortunate that our young people are asking to be murdered. They are asking to be murdered. You know,
it's crazy.
It is crazy because they should know gang culture better than I do, and I knew it's certain things you don't do. Because soon as I touched down, I called my people from Brooklyn out there, and they was like, you know, come see them to pick up them things, and I was like, we don't need those because we're not here for that. You know what I mean? And knowing me, and I don't want to go to jail in California. You know what I'm saying?
You better not.
I'm not on that type of time. They were talking to the old Tad, you know. But my point is that, you know, the violence in our neighborhood is serious, and it's on us. those who want to see the violence stop, that we have to get involved and we have to get in front of this thing and we have to talk to our young people before they grow into that, because the mindset is already being pushed on them through the music, through the videos, through the constant bombardment of violence in the news that always highlight that in our community as opposed to the young people's achievements. So we need to change the paradigm, show our young people being successful, letting them know that this too can be you, as opposed to showing young people always shooting up corners, shooting up candlelight vigils, doing drive-by, saying this is who you are. Because the mind will always be whatever it sees. You know?
Meanwhile, George Zimmerman is still walking around. I'm putting that on you too. You got some fire in your belly. George Zimmerman is still breathing.
So all the
Aaron Wilson is still breathing.
All the dudes in Florida that we see on the first 48 all the time, the Porky projects. I made sure when I was in Miami, I stayed away from there, kept myself in the tourist parts. No South Beach for Mr.
The other side of the water.
Word up. I was where the tourists had, playing in that turquoise water, rubbing my feet in the sand. Yes, we're not going to the Pork and Bean projects. There with this heavy security and police presence. I have nothing to prove. I'm a retired OG. Let's be clear. Now, if they want to do hands, we can do that all day, but
no trouble, right, Tad?
none at all. I'm a tourist.
That's it.
Vacation. That's it. You know, but our time is winding down, sis. We got 5 minutes to wrap this up. You know,
for real. It's good because we needed to discuss this. Because we just we ain't even get into summer yet. And it's already a bunch of foolishness going on out here. You know, and we don't have to be that way. We don't have to be that way. If you see something, I'm not telling you to get yourself killed out here. But if you smart enough to know when you can intercede into a situation and when you should mind your business. That's if right. You can intercede into something, do so. Do so. Do not just let it go over your head and say, oh, I don't care about them. We have reversed the roles in society. It used to be where white children would disrespect their parents, curse their parents out, do all kind of foolishness in their communities. Now it is the reverse. You have black people out here who are afraid of young children. You got black people who won't get involved in their communities. You got black people out here that is in law enforcement and won't do anything about crooked cops. That's a problem. That's a problem because if the police are here to protect and serve, I can't rely on the police if I'm terrified of them. It just don't work that way. It just don't work that way. So we need more black law enforcement to open your mouth and stop being so scared of every goddamn thing. Stop being a coward when you see something. That's one thing. Let me tell you something, Brother Tad. I always hated cowards. I would either beat them up or rob them and take everything they got. I do not like cowards.
Most law enforcement are cowards.
Well,
from the beat cop to the correction officers. So again, shout out to 100 blacks in law enforcement who care, because it's a lot of courage just to organize under that system and be unapologetic in your position. You know, that's a lot of courage right there. So we know they're not no cowards, you know. So again,
Facts. Well, family, we've come down to the end of our program. It's going to be a long weekend. A lot of you will be off from your plantation. A lot of children will be out of school. The spring break, am I too late for that? I don't know. I don't got little children.
Yeah, spring break done came and went.
Okay, good. But you got a long weekend. Please do your best to be mindful of your surroundings. Try not to get caught up in large crowds in areas where you can't get in and out of quickly. Please keep your children in your sight. And please, please, please keep your head on the swivel. Because I'm telling you, this weekend, you're going to hear on the news, there's a Democratic government right now. You're going to hear mass shootings taking place. Shootings in the community. And we ain't even getting into the summer yet. So I want all our people to be careful out there. I'll be riding my bike, getting quite a few miles this weekend while Brother Tad get his run on. If you want to catch you with Brother Tad, you can meet him at Prospect Park on the Parkside side. 9 a.m. Saturday mornings. Better Days Ahead Fitness. If you see my cousin Tashima jumping rope, tell her I said what's up.
That's right. That's every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Shout out to
Yep, Brother Tad be out there too with them.
At Grand Army Plaza. Grand Army Plaza, you could jump rope with Sister Tashima Flowers, 6 p.m. You just see a nice little group out there jumping double dutch. Get your fitness on.
For real. I think my sister was there this week too. She was there out there with them. But again, family, y'all stay up, stay thorough. We meet you back here next week on the Brooklyn Bridge. We out, y'all.